Hello? Is anyone out there? Let me know if this sounds good because I did this really quickly. You know? You know? Welcome. It's Thursday Night Live. Hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2. Red leather, yellow leather. Red, leather, yellow leather. Just hard to think about that one sometimes. Okay. I got lipstick on my face. All right, I gotta fix my hair. I gotta fix my life. Okay. Can somebody give me like a thumbs up in the chat? Is this coming in loud and clear? Got my charger? Yes. We are plugged in. I got my little Sprite. I got my notes. Lots of notes tonight, even though I kind of want this to be a short podcast. I got my beautiful Sharpie, ultra fine. If only Sharpie would sponsor me. I love you. I love you, ultra fine. You make me write entirely differently. We were talking about that last time when I had to go find my special pen before we began. Last time I was saying it, I'll say it again. My mother has always told me that I have the handwriting of a serial killer. And she says that because it's like half print, half cursive. And that it's hard to read. But I don't think it's hard to read. But give me a Sharpie Give me a Sharpie ultra fine. And I will write so fucking crisp. Crisp. It is so crisp. Crisp. I'm so happy I'm waking up because I've been laying in bed for like the last 45 minutes. Did my makeup really quick. I'm gonna put some more lipstick on. Okay. Okay. I kind of have a headache. If you have been following along here or perhaps on Instagram, not so much on Twitter. I'm a little quiet on Twitter. But Sober Social Club has been going on for the month of January, meaning that there are a group of us who are doing a little bit of a dry January. I am not drinking. New for me. And I originally considered not smoking weed for the entire month. And for the first 7 days, I would come home and it was time for my kind of ritual. And I had this joint from literally New Year's Eve that I didn't finish. And I would take a tiny little puff of it. And then I just wasn't really feeling it. I like weed, don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily I don't really think it's real weed anymore, but I just don't really find that I get high that much anymore. And so I kind of wanted to take a break. So I'm still smoking a little bit, just a little bit, not anywhere close to before. And while I do have some life anxiety shit going on, my sleep is off. So we are not on Instagram right now. This is not Let's Be Blunt, but your girl is probably going to smoke in a little bit. Oh, swell. But if you are interested in Dry January with me, we do have the Sober Social Club. We do have a chat. We are supporting one another. And I have not felt compelled at all to drink thus far. Now, this is the second weekend of January. So I've been by myself the last 12 days and haven't gone out to my traditional. Actually, I did take myself out to dinner. It was one of my normal spots. And they were like, beer or wine? And I said, give me a soda water with a lime. But that's my go-to when I'm going out, deciding not to drink amongst other people because it just kind of looks like you're drinking something. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting weekend for me. I am going home to Knoxville. It's my mother's birthday tomorrow, Friday the 13th. How apropos for Mama Maria. Finally, I've been talking about this podcast with her for like a month now. She made absolutely no time for me when I was home for Christmas, but I intend on interviewing her this weekend. You guys think I'm crazy. She's fucking batshit crazy. No, she was a hygienist for 20 years, and I'm really excited to go down this like rabbit hole of fluoride, wisdom teeth, root canals, like the mouth connection to like heart disease and stuff. Somebody asked in the chat if I'm still using my mouth tape. If you follow me on Instagram, go look at my profile. I have a save story on mouth breathing right now. It's this thing I saw on TikTok actually last year. I bought the tape that I'm using in January of 2022, used it for like 1 or 2 nights and then never did it again. But I have so many tangents of things to talk to you about. I was going through pictures. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. And I saw these videos again. And I am a mouth breather, y'all. When I sleep, I don't really snore. I just do this like weird, like type thing. And I had to have braces twice. I have a weird like situation in my mouth. My jaws don't meet appropriately. That's why people love to comment on my canines. It's a whole nother I have so many stories I could tell you. People love to comment on my canines, and they're really pronounced because my jaws don't meet correctly, and so the back half of my teeth do most of my chewing versus the front. Anyways, my whole mouth is fucked up. All of that to say, I am mouth taping. January 1st, I stopped drinking, and then I started mouth taping, and I fucking love it. Fucking love it. If you go to either my bio on Twitter or Instagram, I have a linked tree now, all sorts of links on it. And so there is a little Amazon storefront. I get a lot of questions sometimes about like what kind of hair products I use. So I put those up there, but my mouth tape is there. I buy this little tape that has like an X on it, and I should have brought one in here. I'll show you. Maybe I'll do that at the end. You can use really any kind of tape. One of like somebody I followed for the last like 6 months on my personal account that does it just literally uses like a tiny piece of tape. You just tape your lips together. And I know your initial thought is like, oh my God, like, could I do it? Am I going to suffocate? Blah, 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 blah. It's literally not that deep at all. You just put it on, you lay down, you breathe through your nose, and you feel fucking great the next day. I'm somebody who falls asleep very easily, but then I'm an insomniac and I wake up all night long. And I'm finding that I'm having better sleep by using it. At the same time, I think my reduction in my weed consumption is also, and my just like general anxiety about life is keeping me up at night a little bit. But I love the mouth tape. I will be continuing the mouth tape. I wonder, how personal do I want to be with you right now? Let's come back to the wonder. I was just going to tell a funny story. There's this like barbecue place that I love that's near my office, and I go there a lot and sit at the counter and eat barbecue nachos. And so one time I was sitting there, and I've gone there all the time. I get takeout there all the time. I can't remember how it went. And this guy looked at me and he was like, "Do you have fangs?" Or he was like, "I really like your fangs." And I think I smiled, and he thought by like smiling, I was like saying that I had them. And I was like, "Nah, dog, these ain't fangs. Like, these are just my teeth." Ashley R wants to know if I have had my wisdom teeth taken out. Yes, I have. My mouth was too small. Imagine that, for all of my teeth and everything I have to say. I had no room for my wisdom teeth, but they should have done extractions. Obviously, that's like so freaky as a child. So I was like, no, like don't do extractions. Like, don't pull my fucking teeth out. My mother should have intervened as the expert and said yes. So instead of extracting teeth, they shaved my teeth down. I'm a bad bitch. I think I have one of the highest pain thresholds known to man. I don't know that I'll ever have a child now, but I literally intended on doing it without any sort of medication. I think that's the way you're supposed to do it. Anyways, these are just like thoughts I've had. But shaving the bone of your teeth without any anesthetic is one of the worst experiences of my life. I will never forget like how my brain shook when that happened. Awful. Awful. And then my teeth started turning and it was so fucked up anyways. And then I got to get braces a second time when I was a senior in high school. This is how I think my mother probably knew I was going to be an attorney at this point. I went to her and the second orthodontist, and I was just like, listen, I'm going to take my senior pictures. You're going to put the braces on. You have until prom. This is your window of time. Fix my mouth. Probably should have had them on longer. I'll probably have to have jaw surgery and my teeth replaced at some point. But that's another story for another day. We'll have to ask my mother about that this weekend. Okay. Some housekeeping notes for you. Take my pen out of the way. I am doing a giveaway. First, I just got to say, hi. Welcome to episode 109. I'm throwing everything at you right now. I need to take a breath. Serenity now. But maybe you're a new follower. Maybe you're an old follower. If you don't know, let me tell you. Made this little account back in March 2018 because it's so funny to think of now. You know, I have a personal account, and at the time I wanted to like follow some weird shit on Instagram, and I was worried about the hypothetical where someone is so concerned with me that they're going through my following list. And I follow a bunch of people, and I follow like fucking 2,500 people on that account. Going through my following list, making some sort of judgment about whom I am following, as if they're like clicking on the people, making a judgment call, and then being like, oh, Maria, can you believe that Maria follows this and follows this? Was so silly. So silly. Such an acute hypothetical. But it spurred me to create this Finsta. It was a Finsta at first. And then I just started posting a little bit. If you're like a real OG way back, my friend Vol, he used to go by Vol. And we were like competing to get 2,000 followers. God, back in the day. And it probably took us, I'm trying to think, that was March. It was like into the fall. We were competing for 2,000 followers, and he ended up buying some because he's a little bitch. I love him. He's still my friend. But way back. Anyways, I eventually amassed 53,000 followers, and then I was deleted in October of 2020. So since then, I've been deleted a number of times. I've been building back better. And here we are, November, December, January. 2 years, 3 months later, I hit 53K. Again today, we're back. We're back at it. We're going to get bigger and better. So I'm doing a little giveaway. Go check out my Instagram. There's a post there. There's a picture of this hat, the OG PSYOP hat. And if you like it and you comment and you follow me on Insta and you follow me on here on YouTube, if you're subscribed, then you are now entered. Send me a DM with your YouTube subscription. And I'm going to give away one of these hats and a sticker pack to the grand prize winner. I'm going to give away like 10 sticker packs to 10 other people. And I hope you will enter. I'm going to pick somebody on Monday. That's when the contest is going to end. And yeah, this is my OG. Hold on. This is my OG hat. I like did a little sample of these. What am I trying to say? Not sample cell, like a capsule sale back in January 2021. I was so fucking shadow banned, but I did it for 2 weeks. And these are some dad caps. And look, I've got paint on mine when I was opening my business. But I'm bringing them back in a trucker hat, black on black mesh in a hunter green in like the next couple weeks. So yeah, this is like limited edition, doesn't exist. One of you will get the last remaining black psyop hats that exist, for lack of a better word. So thank you for following me. Thank you for playing. And thank you for being the best class that I could ever ask for. Housekeeping, giveaway, new hats. Circling back around, I'm going home for the weekend. It's my mother's birthday. We're going to record a podcast together. I'm very interested to talk to her. And if you've heard this before, sorry, you're going to hear it again. I'm very interested to talk to her because she's been aware of Maria for a couple years and like was somewhat apprehensive to it for a great deal of time and lied to me about getting the jab. And then we didn't talk for a while. And then unfortunately, her boyfriend in May got the 4th booster and died like a week later. And ever since then, she has kind of woken up to the type of rhetoric that we discuss and is like very anti-jab. And so I think she's gonna have a very interesting perspective, and I want to talk about like that change. Not to be too morbid by any means, but you know, talking to an adult or talking to like some sort of parental figure about like 9/11, about the moon landing, just like kind of conspiracies in general. I want to know what kind of conspiracies that like she heard growing up. Like I remember her like we're watching some movie way when I was a child, like silly kind of like old wife conspiracies about like Roller Coaster of Love. What was that movie? And there was like some sort of legend that went that like when they were playing Roller Coaster of Love that they would like kill someone. What movie is that? Like in part of the song. Dun 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 dun. Dun. I'm really bad at this, so I'm not gonna do that. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Anyways, I'm gonna be in like 2 situations. There's like a big, huge her whole like we lived in a great neighborhood and she still lives there. And so like the whole neighborhood gets together once a month and does like a birthday dinner. And so it's January and it's her birthday tomorrow. So it's like big deal birthday dinner, which is a lot of fun, but a lot of drinking. Bukus of drinking. Everyone will be drinking. I will likely be the only one to not be drinking. And then Saturday, my best friend is like hosting a big, huge like game night party. And there will be tons of people there. And the alcohol will be flowing. So I will be smoking, probably taking a little bit of mushrooms. But my bestie texted me this week and was like, I heard you weren't drinking. Like, are you serious? Like, are you going to have any fun? And that's such a like, dichotomy is not the word. It's just an interesting position to be in. I don't know. For those of you that are like going maybe on a similar journey or you've been following the journey that I've been talking about of just like, I would love fancy like red wine. I would love to be able to like have a beer when I want to have a beer. But over the last year or two, my body is literally like, nah, dog. We're going to reject this in such a way that you won't want to do this anymore. But yet, here we are, all poisoning ourselves again. Anyways, just going to be interesting. Not difficult per se, but old habits die hard. And by no means do I have any intentions of breaking my fast or not completing this month. Because like that's just kind of it's sad to think about, but I like asked myself, I was like, I don't really know when I haven't drank for a week. I don't really know that I haven't drank for 2 weeks or definitely 3 weeks or definitely 4 weeks. Really ever since I started drinking. I guess I didn't really do it during the week during like college and law school. Not like come home and have a glass of wine, that type of thing. Urban legend. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. But yeah. I don't know about you if you're on this, if this is a familiar thing for you, and it probably sounds arrogant, but I kind of enjoy it that like when I hung out with Mr. California last year, when I go out to concerts and things like that, I give myself like a 1 or 2 drink limit, and I am a big tequila person right now because that's seemingly the only thing that like doesn't affect me negatively. And I will transition from my alcoholic drink to my non-alcoholic drink without like telling anyone else. And I feel this like I have this like superiority complex that comes with it of like being out, being able to have a good time, enjoying myself, and knowing that like I'm making this decision, like I'm doing this for myself. Like I don't need a drink the way I used to think I needed a drink. I don't need to like binge until I feel a buzz. Like I can just enjoy myself without a buzz. And saying that out loud sometimes I think sounds so not despicable. It was just kind of sad to consider. I don't know. I feel a little bit of superiority when I guess when I like choose myself a little bit like this. I don't know. Does anyone else feel that way? Also, to those of you who keep telling me that I have a tongue tie, I've had a lot of that lately. I asked my mother, we're going to talk about this on the podcast. I do not have a tongue tie. Thank you very much. If I had a tongue tie, I like wouldn't be able to like do that at all. So I think I talk a little funny sometimes because my lips are bigger than God gave them to me and they get in the way. And, you know, there's a little lisps sometimes. Get the fuck over it, okay? Get the fuck over it. Love you. Mean it. Love you, mean it. Okay. Let's talk about today, though, because I didn't tell you guys about this because it's supposed to be a fucking secret. And sadly, this like whole fucking plan I had for this week just crumbled. Okay. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you know. Maybe you don't know. Speaking of like March 2018, we were all back in like a Discord back then. Like that's how I had got kind of into this movement. And my friend had created a Discord. Somebody that I became friends with had created a Discord and I had joined it. And I made this account so that I could go in there with the anonymity. And it was just this like wonderful place full of wonderful people. And we would get on there and talk every night. This is like when Q was posting in real time. And so we were having these like nightly discussions, you know, what's next? What's happening? When's Hillary and Obama going to be arrested? Sweet, sweet memories, if you will. But the cool thing about Discord, I don't have it anymore. Fuck you, Discord, because you banned me from it. But that you can make all sorts of different chat rooms on different subject matter. And you know me, I love electromagnetism. I love time travel. I love the multiverse and multiple timelines and all these different things. So like Project Looking Glass at the time was just right up my alley. It was like a new frontier, a door that had opened in my mind, you know, the Baron Trump omnibus, Trump being a time traveler. It was just meme magic, Pepe. Such a fascinating time to be alive. And I started talking to this person in this chat room. He was like, does anybody want to talk about Project Looking Glass? This bitch like raised her hand. We started DMing about it. And I thought for some reason he was like an old guy for a great deal of time because like Vol was older than me, Concerned was older than me. These are people that were in the chat. I thought he was this old Greek guy for a couple months. And then we would talk and we would share articles together. And like one thing led to another. And I think I had said I broke up with my boyfriend at the time in the chat. And he was like, how are you? What's wrong? Like, tell me about it. And I'm like, dude, you're an old guy. You don't fucking care about this. And then he tries to tell me, he's like, oh, I'm in my 40s. Let me send you these pictures. And your girl got catfished. I got catfished so bad, so hard. It was bad. And I wore my heart on my sleeve, obviously not as much as I did back then. And I had dated somebody in the military who had been to ranger school and had a deployment. And so, like, I was used to being this, like, long distance girlfriend, and I said everything. I, like, literally told this individual everything, and he just ended up using it against me, and we kinda had this online relationship, and we were supposed to meet, and then everything kept getting pushed off. Anyways, this is all in episode 33. You should go check it out. The first half of that episode is with a woman named Alice who has a strange thing with John Mayer, and I'm not here to judge her story by any means. It's somewhat different than mine in both, like, mental type situations, but just different. Anyways, so that's the first half. Go listen to the second half of 33 sometime. Hear me talk about crazy, crazy shit. Okay? I eventually find out that this guy is catfishing me, that he's not real, that he's actually still married. He's got a girlfriend at the time too. And eventually he shows up in Nashville one night, and I didn't want him to, like, come to my apartment, so I went and met him somewhere, and he beat me up. I filed a warrant for his arrest. I was going to do an order of protection, but he's literally a con artist. Constantine Damon is his name. Daemon. And AE is technically a diphthong in Latin, and it should make an I sound. So it's supposed to be like Constantine Diamond. It's not his fucking real name. He changed his name 4 times. Anyways, he's a bad, bad person. And I thankfully got away from that, and he doesn't really bother me that much anymore. But something you should know about me is I like scour the depths of the internet every day, all the time, looking for just information and stuff to post, research, blah 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 bullshit. And I just, like, have these places that I go, you know? And so I have, like, people that I check up on too, just like a little bit of a ritual. And for a great deal of time, I had not checked up on him because he had just been, like, out of sight, out of mind. I ran a background check. I was just, like, thinking about him in December, and I hadn't run a background check on him in a very long time. So I did. And I saw where that motherfucker assaulted his girlfriend, the one that he had when I realized who he was. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, that was not, like, I'm not hurt about that or upset about that. I really, like, I reached out to her. I tried to warn her. I, like, sent her the pictures. Like, she's so brainwashed. Reached out to her parents. Like, we became friends. They haven't seen her in years. He, like, keeps her hidden away from them. It's, like, really, really fucked up situation. But I saw on this background check that he had assaulted her in Alpharetta in December of 21 and got charged with domestic assault, and then had gone through the court process and had been set for trial, and that trial got continued, and it was set for a fucking status conference today in Fulton County in General Sessions Court, and my eyes went crazy. I was like, this is it. This is it. Like, I'm finally going to get justice. I made plans to go to Atlanta. I could not fucking wait to see his face when he walked into the courtroom and saw me on the other side of the bar. I had arranged to have the Davidson County warrant served on him. I had been in contact with detectives here. I had been in contact with the district attorney there about getting him extradited. You know, whether or not Tennessee would be interested in doing that. I had reached out to his girlfriend Jamie's parents saying, like, I know where they're going to be. They had made plans to come up there, excuse me. And it was like really going to be my fucking, like, coming full circle, like, putting all of this to a close, feeling some sort of, like, justice from the system. And they reached out to me last week being like, "Hey, where are we going? When do we need to be there?" And I wanted to ensure that I was getting like the exact right court, the exact right address, and something in me told me to like log into the account that I had made with the court and like go look at the docket. And I did. And that case got fucking dismissed last month, like days after I had accessed it the first time. It's actually called like we call it a nollie. So he had been required to like do something, some sort of class or some sort of seminar or month-long program or whatever, and he completed that and it got dismissed. So, Constantine, if you're out there, your day is coming and it will be sweet, sweet revenge. But that's where I was supposed to be today, and I took the day off. My dad was going to come down there with me. But all of that to say, be careful with who you talk to on the internet. Not everyone who wants to talk about Project Looking Glass and changing of the timelines is a good person. Not everyone who, talks about fuck the Fed and all the things that we like, just not everyone is good on the internet. But Mike McNeil just sent $25.45 my way. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, I got catfished. Gave a dumbass some money too. Never gonna get that back. Should have gotten his ass arrested today. But alas, that did not occur. And that's okay. Life goes on. Life goes on. And what you put out into the world will come back and bite you eventually. So, what else can we talk about? Where should we begin? This is just really random. A little aperitivo into the conversation. I posted this today. This is something I wanted to tell you. Maybe I've said this before, I can't recall. But this is how I had found the mouth breathing taping videos again. I have an obscene amount of pictures and videos on my phone. Truly, truly obscene. And I don't do anything most of there's no organization. There's no cataloging. There are no keywords. I just, like, you could tell me something and I can remember in the grand scroll of my photos on my iPhone where that is. I can like generally tell you what month and what year I posted that or I was into it. Sometimes a little off though. It takes a long time to find things. And then if you post something on Instagram and you reformat it all, then it like saves the new picture for you. So I just have so many duplicates. So many. And my little trick is like for every day I go to the search bar and I would put like January 12th into the search bar, and then it's going to pull up everything that I had done on January 12th each year before that. And that's just a nice way to kind of like clear some shit out every day. It's not as daunting as like going through, let's see, how many photos do I have these days? 42,180 recents. Now that's a lot to go through. But if you go through it one day at a time, baby, you'll get it. Do you remember when Facebook first came out and it was like so cool to have friends that you were just like, everyone was friending everyone? At least it was that way for me in college in like 2006. Fuck. Yeah, 2006. And I remember like literally had somebody who was like Vince Vaughn with Vince Vaughn's picture. And then you look down some years later and you have way too many friends. So when I used to be on Facebook all the time, on people's birthdays, I would either say happy birthday or I would defriend you. And like that was a nice way to clear out your friend list. You know, I used to tell you funny stories about like my dating life because it's just so comical. Truly. The best is like when I was going on a couple dates here and there, especially like coming into, like, I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on here because I don't want to get deplatformed or demonetized at all. So going into like jib jab time, pandemic time, you know what I'm saying? There were a couple dates there, and those were just fucking ridiculous. Like, one time I went out with a guy, and, I met him at the place, and it was during all of like, the beginning of all of this, and he seemed normal, and I'm just sitting there being like, "Fuck masks, fuck the vaccine, like, fuck this, that," like, not as intense. I was, like, letting it trickle down a little bit. I know I said something about masks, and then when we were done, we walked we walked out of the restaurant. He walked me to my car, and he put his mask on as we walked outside to the car. Those are some good stories. You might think that, perhaps I've taken more of, like, I'm being more private with my love life, and that's really not true. There just literally is no love life whatsoever. No dates, nothing going on. I, uh I was feeling a little, like, sorry for myself. Not really. Let's rephrase that. I was feeling a little horny and a little and I guess I just wanted a little bit of attention. So I thought to myself, like, let's just download Hinge again. You know, you haven't had these apps in almost a year. Like, let's just make a Hinge for a day or two and see what happens. And I did. And it's a scam. I don't think anyone on there is real. And like the 24 hours I had it up, I didn't get any interaction whatsoever. And it kept telling me, like, send likes so we know what kind of person you're into. But had a Hinge for 24 hours and then deleted it. I still have Tinder and I don't play with it. It's mostly if I were to like go on a trip to like play with my best friend. But yeah. Yeah. I was telling this story on my stories today, but you've heard me talk about Ray before and how I fell in love with him last year and he broke my heart because he's a little baby back bitch that doesn't want to settle down. But today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Ray. I don't think you're watching, but just in case you are. I guess I'm just gonna let it all out for you. Oh man, okay. So over the last 2 years, I have decided that I want to be unapologetically myself. I say what I mean what I say. If I feel something, I want to share that feeling with you. If there's something on my mind, I'm going to tell it to you. I'm not going to like hold my tongue. I'm not going to not be myself. I'm not doing anything like crazy. Like, oh my God, I feel this. I have to tell you right now. But like, if I'm feeling like, if I love you, I want to tell you I love you. Just kind of shit like that, if you can understand. And so this is just my mantra about everything. And Ray's birthday was coming up. We're in a very strange place, and I didn't want to text him or contact him really for his birthday, but I also like wanted to text him and contact him for his birthday. So I decided to like write him a little, to like send him a card. And I was like, this is appropriate. I can just say happy birthday. It's out there. I don't have to worry about it. I can say I miss you, and that'd be it. And I wrestled with it last week. Do I do it? Do I not do it? And I sent the card and I felt good about it. And I feel like it's almost kind of like part of my catharsis of release, you know? And it's very hard. Like, I fall in love very easily, but like I don't say it lightly at the same time. And this was the first time I fell in love, like, as like I'm Maria, Maria is me, but like I say it in the sense of like this is the first time I fell in love like as Maria, like as a woke person, as somebody who has like done tremendous work on themselves, especially like in this time of spiritual awakening and the great awakening and blah 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 bullshit. So to like be cognizant in that way and to like choose to fall in love meant so much. It's just like It's not like a light switch I can just turn it on and off. And I go back to that fucking, like, Sex and the City thing of, like, half the time that you were together is, like, the time in which, like, you should be getting over someone. And part of me wants to agree, but it's just not that easy. So, I'm unapologetically myself. I wanted to tell him that I missed him, even though he's an asshole, even though he's a big baby, even though he told me I was a psychopath recently. And, so I sent my card. How easy, how nice, whatever. Wrapped up, out the door. I love love letters. I'm so random right now, but when my ex-husband was in ranger school, like, you can't speak at all. You can only write letters, and so I used to write him a letter every day. Like, I love a letter. Love it, love it, love it. So sending a card was fun and nice and cool. And, Ray and I have a tortured history relationship right now because we originally met because he was buying a piece of property from me, and now he's trying to sell his property and kind of mine at the same time, really without my permission, but negotiating on my behalf without my permission, but that's another conversation. So he's texted me yesterday, did not anticipate hearing from him, and we're talking about, like, money and land and offers and bottom lines and this kind of thing. And at the end, I was like, "All right, Maria, you're gonna be yourself. This is what you wanna do. If you're feeling it, you wanna say it." And I knew I'd already sent him the card, but I heard through the grapevine that he's out of town, so he probably won't even get it for a while. And yesterday, I sent him a text message at the end of the conversation that said, "Happy early birthday. I miss you." And you know what he responded? Like, I put this on my stories, and everybody was responding back to me being like, "He's a dick. He's this. I'm so sorry, you poor thing." Like, this did not hurt my feelings at all. It made me laugh, if anything else, because he's just trying so fucking hard. But he said, "Thanks." Quote, "Thanks. I don't miss anyone. Not a soul." It just reminds me of my little brother, when, like, I just imagine my mom being like, "Bye, sweetheart. Like, I love you. I miss you." And my brother being like, "I don't miss anyone. Not a soul." Anyways, happy birthday, Ray. I love you and I hate you. Candace says, "Why did you buy land with him?" I didn't buy land with him. Dude, let me just tell you, start looking for bankruptcy sales in your jurisdiction or outside your jurisdiction. I bought 2 acres at a bankruptcy sale in March 2020 in the neighborhood that I grew up in, which was, like, unheard of. There's no land there. And, it was a really good fucking financial decision, and I thought I wanted to build there, and I would in, like, some hypothetical, but we're wheeling and dealing, baby. We're making deals. And so I just, like, put a sign up in my yard last year saying, like, "This is what I wanted if you wanted to sell it," and they're technically, like, 2 separate lots. So that's how Ray and I met, is he made an offer on my lot, we entered into a contract together, and then met in real life, and it was magical for a moment. So we did not buy land together, he bought land from me, but I made out like a fucking bandit, and I doubled my money just on selling it to Ray, and it makes him so mad. Anyways, happy birthday, asshole. Wish we had arrested Constantine today. Okay, back to what I was saying. Oh, this all came from me telling you about pictures. So ever so often, especially, or not ever so often, every fucking day, I'm going through January 12th looking at my pictures. Tomorrow, going through January 13th looking at my pictures. But then I also like to, like, lay in bed when I first wake up and just kind of, like, try to find things to post for you. And so I was going through my screenshots from last year, And I just found this like really random message that somebody had sent me, and I thought, I obviously took the screenshot for a reason, and I don't know that I posted it before, but they had said, quote, "Isn't it very strange how we are suddenly being given axe throwing opportunities as well as escape rooms and like those like bashing rooms where you just go destroy things? It's like they're telling us to learn basic survival instincts." And so I put something up there saying like the commercialization of basic survival instincts. Like, what do you think about that? Am I calling out small businesses who've chosen to like open this up? By no means. Like, go get that bread, baby. Like, I'm your capitalistic sister. Like, I'm all here for I'm here for all of us making money as much as possible. Um, literally, I would love to like we should have a podcast sometime where we talk about money making strategies and shit like that. Nobody ever tells me if they want that. So if that's something you're interested in, let's chat. Chitty chat about that. But I don't know, I just think that that's like a bunch of people like kind of jumped on and were like these things have been around forever. And I can't say that I know that about the axe throwing type thing. Like my brother's really into it and I've gone with him a couple of times. I really feel like there was a huge resurgence in that in the last maybe like 3 or 4 years. But I did go with my brother and was filming myself, and I propped my phone up on my purse, and then it started to fall down, so it, like this video I have of myself, I throw it, and I hit it right in the fucking like, it's bullseye, baby, but my phone fell, and it's mostly a video of my ass, so naturally, you know, I posted that today because A, let's be thirsty. B, fuck you, Ray. C, I gotta keep the engagement up, like you guys don't understand the back end of the algorithm. So I put a little ass out there and people either loved it or they hated it. Some people telling me to lose weight. And I just wanted to say that was a fucking year ago. I look even better now. I got a bacterial infection 2 months later in Guatemala and then lost 25 pounds. So, not the way that I necessarily recommend doing it, but definitely jumpstart that summer weight loss. So thank you, Guatemala, for helping me get back on track. I don't know if you guys were on the internet as much as me as a child, but the whole idea of the escape room just takes me back to like E-Bomb's World and that like old school cartoon escape room game. Did anyone ever play that? That's just what I think about when I think of escape rooms. Okay. Are they telling us though that like we need to learn basic survival instincts? Like, is this a little drippy drip of like, hey guys, like we're gonna cut the grid off sometime soon, and like you don't know how to butcher anything, you don't know how to do anything, you can't throw an axe, you can't like hold an axe most of the time. I don't know. I think there would be, obviously I'm sure this exists, but I almost put this out there today of like is there anyone in the class that runs kind of a like an not an outfitters, but like if you had some land and you were a man and you knew some shit, like you could connect with me. We could open up a business. You could like take some like class members out for the weekend and like show them how to do some shit, like to start a fire, to do this, to do that, to dress a deer, to, whatever. I don't know. I think that would be an interesting business model. And I think that people would pay for it. Commercialization of basic survival instincts, but we don't have any fucking basic survival instincts, I could probably Google how to change my tire and get it done, but I'm a bougie bitch and my USAA provides for that. Or I could call someone and I could pay someone to take care of that. And that's really nice and convenient as the world turns now. But what if the world starts turning in a different way? What if the grid were to go down? There's a video that I reference often, and I always tell you to take it with a grain of salt, but it fucking terrifies me. It was like 20 yeah, February 2021, March 2021, around that time when I guess it was February because I met HV Valentine's Day in 21 and we were up in Cleveland and it was that huge ice storm and we both kind of got stranded for a little bit. But this video came out and it was this guy talking about how there's this some sort of department of something, some sort of government agency did a study saying that like it would only take a couple hits to the grid for the entire grid to go down because essentially we have two grids. We have the entire grid and then there's like the Texas grid. And it suggested that if the main grid were to like have 2 or 3 points, it would take the whole thing down, and that in the grand nature of capitalism that the companies have not like continuously upgraded it. They've only like problem solved when there have been issues, and so it's like way overdue to basically kind of it should collapse based on what's going on, and that if it were to collapse, it would likely take 18 months to get back online, get electricity back online for the United States. And supposedly it estimates that like 90% of America would die, which if we're running on what? Let's just assume there's 300 million people in the United States. I don't know if there's more. That was just a number I used back in fucking law school when I wrote my seminar paper. But if 300 million's real, then 270 million would theoretically die because we wouldn't have these fucking basic survival instincts. We wouldn't know how to do anything. I don't know how to do anything. I'd have to put pee-pee in my backpack and whoo, Lord, that'd be 60-pound rucksack. There's like a special backpack I want to buy for him so bad. It's like $300 or $400, but it's like a dog thing and has like a setup for him. And I am gonna do that one day. Okay, axe throwing opportunities. Just interesting. Just some thoughts. I asked people today, and I kind of ask this from time to time in different forms, but when did you realize that you lived in like a different dimension than everyone else? Sometimes I kind of ask what your red pill was, what woke you up, but I don't know. When did I realize that I lived in a different dimension? I think I felt that way all my life, to be quite honest. I have these memories. Okay. Should I tell you this? These are some weird loops for me. Okay. Grew up in Knoxville most of my life, and then in 4th and 5th grade, we moved to Nashville. I lived with my aunt for a little while, like me, my mom, my dad, my brother. We lived at my aunt's house while they were like figuring out where we were going to go. And then we moved into this apartment and then lived in 2 different apartments in the complex. And then my parents got divorced. We moved back to Knoxville. So I just have memories of being at that apartment complex for like a year and a half. Then, where am I going with this? Oh, I know. Okay. During that time, I used to get headaches a lot. And I know this will sound crazy, but I used to get headaches on Tuesdays, like migraines during this time, like debilitating migraines, like get sick, light affects you, you need to like go lay down and sleep it off. And I remember it like coinciding with when I had like Girl Scouts or brownies or something. But I don't want you to automatically be like, oh, Marie, it's probably because you don't want to go. Because I really liked it. Like I liked my friends. It was a fun hangout thing. But I used to get these fucking migraines on Tuesdays. I also think I was going through a lot of stress at the time because my parents were fighting a lot and they were on the verge of divorce and I was a very nosy child and I knew way too many things. I knew way too much than I should have at that time. So maybe it was like stress coupled with that. But I have these memories of I used to close my eyes and now I would describe it as I felt like I was playing Tetris all the time. And I do recall there being like access to some sort of Tetris computer game, either at home or at school. But that idea of like, maybe not Tetris per se. What is it called when it's kind of like old school Candy Crush when you would just have a screen of blocks, and you would just be trying to like eliminate groups and then they would fall and collect and fall and collect and you're trying to like clear the board. I have these memories of closing my eyes and like seeing that and like playing this game in my head all the time, almost like a grid. And like now I wonder looking back if like that's how I rationalized what I was seeing, like making a comparison to like Tetris or this kind of like block game. I don't know. I watch way too much Lost and I rewatch Lost all the time. I just finished a rewatch a couple weeks ago. Not a couple weeks ago, a fucking week ago. Desmond is my favorite character. I fucking love electromagnetism. I love its connections to like, that's the Dharma Initiative. It's really analogous to DARPA. I need to do a whole series on Lost, but Desmond has all these like crazy electromagnetism headaches, and not to say that I'm a time traveler or was doing anything back then, but I do think as children, like the veil is much thinner and perhaps like maybe you are able to see the light more. I don't know. I just like wonder what was going on with me back then because like got to a point where they were getting so bad that I think my parents were about to have me like go get an MRI. And I remember closing my eyes and seeing this block grid and like feeling like I had to play the game in my head all the fucking time. And I didn't like it. And I eventually like made it go away. But now I wonder what that really was and what kind of really was going on and what was I seeing. I don't know. Does that make sense? Did anyone ever else experience this? Something like that? When I was like 5 years old, somebody was saying, my mother said I questioned the Oklahoma City bombing as a toddler. Totally get that, Dylan Kimbrough. My mom tells a story that she used to get my brother and I to like go through our toys every year and donate them to like the mission or the Salvation Army or something like that for like children who weren't going to have as nice a Christmas or whatever. And I remember being like, well, Mom, like if Santa Claus is real, then like why do I have to donate my old toys? Wouldn't these individuals be getting their own toys from Santa Claus? And she was like, well, Maria, you're 5 and Santa's not real. Don't tell your brother. Man, I wanted to tell him so bad for years. I was like, can I please tell him this year? And now I think about shit like that and I don't have any plans of having kids at this point. I got no prospects lined up. I don't even know that I want to, but I don't think I could perpetuate the Santa psyop on my kids in that hypothetical. But okay. Let's take a little smoke break. Won't you? Won't you with me? Yeah, the grid sounds like a coping skill. Probably. When I have a kid, it is a struggle. Yeah, that's why I don't think I want to do it. I have a really cool life. I would have a really fucking cool life if I had someone to like share it with, but I don't know. I'm from a Catholic upbringing and I used to think that I wanted 6 children. I'm sorry. Tamara asked if I'm doing sober January. I'm abstaining from alcohol, but I haven't been sleeping, so I need a little weed tonight. So why not do it with you, right? I should probably hit my vape, but here we are. Here we are. Is Lost a real true story? It's definitely possible. I love to make the analogy. I did a video of this recently. I find it so interesting. Like I loved the OA. Loved the OA. And in the OA, they harness. In the OA, okay, spoiler alert. If you've never watched the OA, if you have any intentions of watching the OA, I will wave when we're done talking about it. Mute me until then. But in a nutshell, this bad man takes a group of people to death, to have like near death experiences, and they basically astral travel and meet gods or a god in the astral realm, and they learn these movements. And there's 5 movements, and the movements allow them, like, when done in a certain way with like certain energy and certain time, allow them to basically jump a timeline into like a parallel. And then in season 2, that's explored more. And I always find that very interesting, and I love the ideas of like the multiverse and parallels and stuff like that. And so when TikTok first came out, I just find it very intriguing, the whole idea of the dancing. And I find the dancing to be so fucking cringe. The most fucking cringe. It was cringe then and it's cringe now. Do I love to dance? Yes. Do I like prance around like a fucking idiot by myself and with my friends and family and stuff? Yes. Am I going to sit here and like renegade for you? Nah, dog. I don't know. There's just some things do not need to be posted on the internet. But in the old pandy times, the beginning of the pandy, like dancing like that on TikTok was everywhere. Everyone was doing those dances and they were practicing them over. I mean, it's not just what you see in the video. There's hours and hours of learning and performance and perfection and getting it right and then actually filming it. So if you like evaluate the world in the eyes of the OA, that there are 5 moves that done with enough repetition, because if you've watched that, you understand that like you didn't just do the 5 moves and like automatically fucking jump a timeline. It took them years and years, and like in other hypotheticals, like hours and hours to effectuate even like the minute amount of change. So then you think about millions and millions of people doing like the same dance over and over again. Like, to whom was that being offered? You know, like that dance, that movement, that loosh, that energy, that vibration, like it's not for nothing. And so I like to tie it all together to bring it back down to Lost. You know, in Lost, there's this idea of the island, and Ben at one point goes into the depths of the island where the man in black had like harnessed this pocket of electromagnetic energy with it was, I think, why can I not what is the steering circular thing, the wheel on a boat? What is that called? I can't remember like small things at times. This thing? Anyways, it was broken in half. They attach it that thing from the Black Rock, just being ironic in and of itself, is attached to this pocket of energy inside the island, and they turn it, and that turning moves the island in space and time. And so I was tying all of these theories together, saying if 5 movements from the OA can take you and transcend you into a place, a different like time and place, like disrupt the space-time continuum, then what if they were doing something when they were doing all those movements and those dances? Like, what if they were moving the island? I just thought that's a fascinating discussion. Okay. We've talked about Damar Hamlin a little bit. I don't intend on going in like have I deep dived him at all? Like, I know I talked about him with HV. I can't remember if I did on Friday Night Live last week. All the days are running together. But I just wanted to note, this came out yesterday, I guess, or the day before. Damar Hamlin filed two trademark applications while he was hospitalized last week. The filings were made on January 6th. One of them was, quote, "Did we win?" Number 2 was 3 is back. Hamlin claims that he intends to use the trademarks to offer clothing, motivational speaking services, athletic training services, posters, pens, and then pens, mugs. It is unheard of, literally unheard of, for an athlete to make a trademark filing while he is A, in a hospital bed, but B, in fucking ICU? What? I mean, the whole idea of, you know, I think I said this in my podcast with HV, but I'll say it again now. Like, they're absolutely, I can't wrap my head around that there were not hundreds of thousands, there were thousands of people at this game. Everyone has a fucking cell phone. And this motherfucker was laying there for 9 minutes being resuscitated. There's rumors of blood coming out of his ears. There is a ritual of people around him in a circle, and not one of those patrons, not one of those ticket holders or ticket purchasers took a video of what was happening on the field. I just don't believe that at all. Like, there has to be someone out there with some, like, did they turn everyone's phones off? Like, somehow, like, mess with your ability to take a video? Yes, there was a circle there, but, like, to say that you couldn't go up to, like, the 300 level and, like, take a video in some sort of way, or, like, just take a picture and, like, kind of see what's happening between people's legs, it just sounds crazy to me. Crazy to me. I did not think he would make it through the weekend. That was my prediction. I was definitely wrong, but begs the question of some sort of replacement or clone. Talk more about clones here in a second. But it just, the theater of the absurd just becomes more and more absurd. And then he supposedly wakes up and there's all these headlines about it. And his first words are, "Did we win?" And then you look at the article a little bit more and it's like, well, he didn't actually verbalize this because he was intubated, but I just realized I didn't start recording my audio on my other thing, which is fine. I can get it from this, but the way I remember things, sorry. Oh, by the way, he's intubated. So he didn't say this out loud. He wrote it down these are the first things that he said. He wrote them down by hand after he came out of an induced coma, after he had been, like, so many medications. There's no fucking way. No fucking way that happened. But yet it supposedly did. And while I guess you're sitting around playing Candy Crush or Tetris or Blockus or whatever the fuck I'm talking about, Mama and Daddy thought, you know what? I'm praying to 6-pound, 7-ounce little baby Jesus. And I want my son to wake up from this so much. But you know what? Let me call our intellectual property attorney real quick so he can get moving on these trademark applications. What? Don't get me wrong. Like, I love money. I'll take your money. You want to bring a ridiculous case to me? You want to pay my ridiculous hourly rate to do something? I will do it. But I think if I was that trademark attorney and somebody called me on his behalf in, like, a real hypothetical and was like, yo, he's still in the ICU, but I want you to get rolling on these trademark applications. I don't know. That's some good. Normally, I would say, unless they've got, like, what the fuck do I know about the NFL? But I would say normally, like, babes like that, like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, like, you really have an IP attorney on call, especially when you're in the fucking ICU. In addition to that, in the 33 of it all, the shirts, he immediately started selling some merch, like 3 or 4 shirts, and those were $33. Somebody pointed out to me, he's doing this. What am I trying to say? Emoji. There's an emoji that looks like this, but he's been doing this symbol. And this emoji was just in the last emoji update, which is just interesting. Yeah. Appalachian, the branch said, Damar is so brave. He's so brave. A lot of people are asking me, isn't this a HIPAA violation by the hospital in which he had been admitted, discussing what has happened to him and that he's now being transferred to Buffalo? We've talked about this before. I'll try to do this in a nutshell. I mean, likely if a facility is making that type of statement, if we're not necessarily talking about if we take the false flag PSYOP bullshit out of it, if a hospital or a third party or corporation is making a statement like that, they would likely have your consent to do so, explicit consent to do so. But if they did not have that consent, would that be a violation of HIPAA per se? Perhaps. People like to throw that around all the time, HIPAA violation, HIPAA violation. You can't ask me if I've taken the jib jab. That's a HIPAA violation. No, it's not a fucking HIPAA violation. If you willingly choose to disclose something, they are not violating HIPAA. HIPAA is an agreement or a law that exists that protects them from this is your doctor. They have all of this information from you. They can't sell it to a third party. They can't transmit it to anyone else without your permission. They can't talk about it without your permission. If I come up and ask you if you have a fucking STD or if you've taken the jib jab, whether you choose to disclose the answer or not, that's not a HIPAA violation. In addition to that, we have all this shit about HIPAA and there's no fucking private cause of action. So even if it's a violation, you have no cause of action to sue for recourse at all. There's a very, very small hypothetical in which you do. So was that a HIPAA violation? If they didn't have his consent, but they had the consent and it's not real. So there we go. Okay. Speaking of clones, Janelle Monáe. I have seen her face. I have heard her name before. I don't really know her. I guess she is an actor, a songstress. I don't know. I'm going to play this clip here in a second. She's in Glass Onion, which, to my understanding, I've not yet watched, but everyone has sent me that there's a 47 in the first part of it, which is, cool because I love 47. But I have not watched it yet. She was doing a little promo for it. And she says she can juggle music, film, and the rest of her life because she has clones. Okay? Hold on one sec.
It's very simple. I have a clone. I have a clone for music. I have a clone for film. I have a clone for my personal life. I have a clone for my family life as well. So that's how it gets done. And each clone is under contract. Which one am I talking to now? Well, if I told you that, then, life wouldn't be as fun.
Bitch, what? What? Now, don't get me wrong. That could be tongue in cheek, Don't get me wrong. That could be a celebrity being funny, right? But if we were to evaluate this in the lens of soft disclosure or revelation of the method, are they just dangling it in front of our face like this? I have this book. One of my favorite books of all time is called The Experiment by John Darnton. Darnton. John Darnton, The Experiment. Now, should you Google it, you're probably going to see that it's connected to a movie I think with Scarlett Johansson, called The Island. And that movie is straight fucking trash. Straight trash. Ugh. Sometimes I want to be a filmmaker, to like conceptualize something. I could have done that so much better. But The Experiment was a book that my stepdad owned. And I think I read it for the first time quite young, like maybe 9, 10, 11, something like that. And it's all about cloning. And don't get me wrong, it's fictional in nature. There's love stories, there's fodder, but it's centered around cloning and it has these really interesting discussions about telomeres, how in your cell there are telomeres, and the telomere is essentially like the timeline of like the life of the cell, and like when your telomere is almost gone, then like the cell is at death, or aged or whatever. So if you were to be able to like extend your telomeres, then you could live much longer. And there's just a lot of like very interesting discussion about cloning and like life. And like if you live to a certain age, like it's difficult to get to this certain age, but from this age to this age, it's just fascinating. One of my fave fiction books that like intertwines crazy shit like this. I'm not going to tell you the exact plot of the story because I suggest that you read it. Oh, by the way, go to my bio on Twitter or Instagram. I have an Amazon thing there again I'm referencing. And in that, there's like, I think, a page called Reading List. So you can see books that I have and that I like and stuff like that. It's contained there if you want a direct link on Amazon. Not going to tell you like the end of the story per se, but what was I going to say? Oh, it suggests that cloning had been around since like the 40s and 50s. And so I grew up like as a young teen, just like making that assumption. And then to watch all that bullshit on like Dolly in the 90s, Dolly the sheep, I never bought into that then. And I just thought that it was a distraction in some way. So I highly recommend reading The Experiment. I like to reread it from time to time. I had purchased it and like let somebody borrow it and I didn't get it back. So I bought myself another copy and I'm going to read it. I think I get it tomorrow, but I'll be gone. So I'll read it next week. Very quick read, very interesting. But is the whole idea of cloning just kind of not a red herring per se, but more of like a distraction from like what is actually possible? So if you ever watched The 100, season 6 has two main things that I think are actually real in this reality that they pervert in a way. I think that space travel is really more of like portal or like port key travel. And I think that cloning is more of an altered carbon, like stacked consciousness transfer from parasite to host. So in spoiler alert, season 6 of The 100, they learn like about the history of kind of Earth, because like Earth goes through this like nuclear attack and from artificial intelligence, and all these people leave Earth and they do travel like out of the atmosphere into space, like, and they're in a space station for 100 years. But like to deep travel in space, it's not by rocket, it's by these portals and these port keys. So I find that to be fascinating, and in like the Stargate of it all to be perhaps maybe what's really happening and what they're really doing at CERN. Also though, the ability that they had to like do this and like deep travel through like they put themselves to sleep for hundreds of years at a time as well, but they had taken consciousness and harnessed it into a Neuralink situation. Like there's an actual like device that is like literally similar to Neuralink in this TV show. And the humans that left Earth like traveled to this distant planet, and then there were other people. I think there are other people there already, and they populated or whatever, and they convince the citizenry that they're gods, that they're destined from whatever, and that they are like royal bloodlines. And so their consciousness has been harnessed, and every time their body fails, their meat suit fails, they've convinced all of these people that it's their God-given duty to like volunteer to be a host for these people. So like if someone were to just die somehow, or the body was to give it out, or there was to be an accident, they would remove the Neuralink and then put it into this like volunteer citizen host. And that's how they transfer consciousness. And, so like one day you're a 65-year-old white man, and like the next day you're an 18-year-old black girl. Just wild concept. Really interesting to then watch and consider, like in this reality, that 3D printing has just really become a huge thing in like the last 5 or 10 years. And the like concept of cloning, sometimes people, when you have that discussion, it's like, well, how does it work? Like if Hillary has a clone, like did they birth the clones at the same time as her? Like were they making them at the same time? And that's how she like has all this stuff at her disposal, like maybe organ wise, or some sort of transplant needed, or just has a stand-in available. But what if it's not that complicated? We're getting into this like artificial womb discussion, and I'm of the opinion that they have all the crazy ass technology in the world, like things that we probably are unable to completely fathom. And they just trickle down, like they show us what they want to show us when they want to show it to us. So, I don't know. I have this other theory that I'm working on regarding like the Black Eye Club, and how this is a wild theory. And I was like expanding on it with somebody in the chat. We were doing a little voice last night in Sober Social Club, and I was talking about this theory out loud, and I can't remember her name now. But she said something, and it like took this theory for me and expanded on it. So Donald Marshall is an individual who talks about the Marsh jump rooms, talks about Obama being a part of that. I've posted on that recently. He also talks about Vril, VRIL, which is kind of like a reptilian discussion. And I love one of my favorite things is in my link tree again. It's like the last one. It's called The Parasite Pill. You should totally go read it. It's 64 slides. It looks very daunting at first, but it reads like a PowerPoint. You will go very quickly. You will understand the concepts very quickly, but it takes it all back to the idea of the parasite and the host. My mom let my brother and I watch crazy scary movies at a young age, and I not really scared of anything. The one movie that like fucked me up when I was younger, and this was like in my teens when it came out, because Joshua Jackson was in it, I think, was The fucking Faculty. And in The Faculty, it's this same premise of like these like alien worms coming down to Earth, and they crawl into everyone's ears, and they're parasitic, and they take over these hosts. Ooh, that just movie just like freaked me the fuck out. So this idea of Vril from Donald Marshall suggests that, the black eye is not about them getting in any sort of like, they're not real black eyes. Like, how do you explain all of these celebrities, all of these politicians have black eyes? That it's the insertion of the parasite into the brain through the eye, and kind of like a lobotomy type situation. And that is causing the bruising here. And so the parasite, the vril, enters through here, takes over the brain, and becomes like takes over the host body, which is kind of analogous to the idea of like stacked consciousness, of this altered carbon type thing, of the ability to like transfer it from person to person. What if it really just boils down to this like very simple parasite host relationship? And what if this parasite is like a very sophisticated alien? You know, like you're going to look down, like think about a worm and like think about how this hypothetical isn't real at all, but like, I don't know. It's just got some crazy components to it. So in my research, I'm like working on formatting this to you in a way that you'll actually read it and engage in my post. When I put the most time into something, I literally get like nothing back from it. Like the legal stuff, you guys say that you love it, but you literally never interact with it. Okay. In my research that I was doing about Vril, I discovered that there was something called the Vril Society. And I had no idea about this. It's a component of Nazism. And so, like, what? If you're an alien, a parasitic alien worm coming down to Earth, like, what a perfect fucking loop. Where's my notes? You come down, you infiltrate, you get host, and like, what if they literally like, again, this is one of those situations where you just need to like suspend belief and like go down the rabbit hole with me where like anything could be possible. What if these alien Vril come to Earth, find host, and they create Nazism? And it is what it is, but they were experimenting with humans. Like, I also am of the opinion that like aliens have probably been here for a great deal of time, but just in this hypothetical, they come down here and they start experimenting on humans, and like that is the Holocaust, and they get in trouble, and then they abscond to different places on the planet in the world. They manage to then, some of them, go to the United States and create NASA. NASA being this like huge kind of what's the word? Like the psyop of psyops. I'm an alien, I come down to Earth, I fuck around with humans for a couple decades, and then I go to America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. I become involved with NASA, which is supposed to be about space exploration, where I, the alien, am from. And then I launder money and like dissuade the masses from like what's actually real for like the rest of time. I don't know, like what a what a like what a perfect loop that would be if true. You know, like let me literally take it like from, we're going to be right in your face about it and you would have no fucking idea. So hold on, where's the thing I wanted to tell you? The existence of a Vril society was alleged in 1960 in the book The Morning of the Magicians. It claimed that the Vril Society was a secret community of occultists in pre-Nazi Berlin that was a sort of inner society of the Thule Society. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They also thought that it was in close contact with the English group known as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the thing I wanted to tell you? Okay. The other component of this that I'm trying to find is that this Vril Society studied, worshipped a black sun, which we would know now to be a reference to the black cube of Saturn. It's just, all of this is so Thule Society. Okay. I find this all to be so fucking fascinating. Vril is associated with Nazi UFOs and the Black Sun concept. It really all goes back to the black cube of Saturn. And I think that, like, the idea of, like, the little green alien, like, perverts a little bit, like, what actually kind of exists out there. But I think aliens and, like, worms and parasites and whatever you wanna call it, like, I think it's much more real than perhaps we give them credit for. Damn. I can't find what I wanted to show you, but it suggested that, like, the beginnings of the Vril Society in, like, the early 1900s had, like, 2 individuals that had met some sort of, like, psychic or medium, and they had connected in a way to, like, the Black Sun and had seen some sort of, the medium had, like, seen something. I should have all this stuff pulled up before I talk to you, but at the same time, I haven't completed my research on this either. So, you're just getting kinda, like, bitty bits and pieces about it. And this to me kinda tied into a quote that I had posted today that said, quote, "Maybe it's not just about defeating an ancient death cult who have ruled humanity for thousands of years, but it's about the friends we make along the way." Which obviously I'm grateful for you and I love you. But we talk about all sorts of weird ancient death cults, but I think the Vril Society should have more of a discussion than it does. And baby, don't you worry, because I am working on it. Okay. Are clones real? Who the fuck knows? All right. The FAA ground planes on, was it yesterday or the day before? Like, time feels so small and so long all at the same time. It was yesterday. Feels like days ago now. FAA temporarily grounds all US flights amid nationwide system failure. The first time since 9/11. So just like spitballing some thoughts off the top of my head. I don't want to talk about this for too long. You mean to say there's some sort of like system error where there's like no fucking backups for this whatsoever? I don't believe that. Is this some sort of like soft disclosure revelation of the method of what's to come? Perhaps. I wondered immediately, like, who are they looking for? Who was set to like fly somewhere or fly in or fly out? I don't know. I just wonder, like, who are you looking for? Why did you shut down the entire country for a number of hours? Just interesting. Who were they looking for? If you don't know, now you will know. Sadly, Lisa Marie Presley died today, just perhaps like an hour or so like before this. She had been at the Golden Globes 2 days ago. She looked very poorly at that award show. She was rushed to the hospital today with cardiac arrest. Oh, I gotta stretch my leg. And, you know, obviously we're all gonna probably immediately go jib jab. I just wanted to note that, like, Elvis died from heart issues. Her grandparents supposedly died from heart issues. Is there a genetic component or is it just like man-made issues? You know, Elvis supposedly died with like 40 pounds of shit compacted in his intestines. This is why you should go get a colonic like I do. I went and got one today. I get them twice a month. 40 pounds of shit impacted in your colon. Ay, ay, ay. But sadly, Lisa Marie died today. Is that a vaccine injury? I don't know. But there's been a great deal of people dying from heart issues lately. And I don't necessarily know, you know, one day, no, not even like say that, not even one day. Within a conversation, I can have a discussion with you on human vibrations theory that all of the shots are saline and that it's really a placebo effect of like true manifestation, like a placebo effect of true inception. Let me give you this saline shot, which is going to incept the idea inside of you. And then you are going to perpetuate and you are going to manifest your own demise by believing in this and then believing the rhetoric that comes after. So, could I have gone and got a shot and nothing have happened to me because, I believe in paradoxes in that way, like kind of the same way we talk about fluoride at times? I don't know. I can have the same discussion a minute later that synthetic mRNA is one of the worst things that could ever happen, and that they're going to start doing genetic modifications on us, and they already do. I don't know. Sadly, people appear to be dying. A 21-year-old lineman at the Air Force Academy died while he was walking to school yesterday, just like walking to class. I was on my personal account and I saw like a guy friend from high school that hadn't posted in a long time on his stories, and it was just like a picture of a man, and I clicked on it because I was just like, what is he doing? Who's he talking about? And this dude was like somewhat overweight. I could see that in his face, but he was working out and like had been working out with my friend, I think, in a class that day, and he collapsed and died during his workout. I don't know, like that would be intense, to like be in that class. I think I'm the type of person that could get over anything, but I don't know. It's not something I desire. I don't desire to see anyone die like that. So I don't know. I'm always the first of the opinion to tell you that I don't necessarily believe in like depopulation. I think that's a psyop in that like if they wanted us dead, wouldn't we already be dead already? Ugh. Wouldn't we be dead? I said already twice in that sentence. The whole Billy Gates 7/8 of the population being gone. Like if you wanted those people gone, wouldn't we be gone? Then I can get into a discussion about NPCs and how I think 95% of the people are background people. But I don't know. Maybe this is the beginning maybe depopulation is real and this is just the beginning. Maybe eugenics is real and they're just trying to make a superior race, a la Hitler, the way that we were just talking about. I don't know. It's difficult. Like we're just always sharpening our tools of discernment. What's real? What's unreal? What's a truth? What's a lie wrapped in truths? Like, why are they telling us this now? Like, everything is very intentional. Any information that we receive is on some sort of agenda, in my opinion. I don't know. But rest in peace, Lisa Marie. I lived in Memphis for 3 years. I love Elvis. Don't ever go to Graceland. It's the most underwhelming experience of your life. Loved the jumpsuits and the airplanes, but he had a nice house back in the day that is just, it's not anything crazy at all. I could give you like a shit ton of other things to do in Memphis other than go to Graceland, but Memphis is incredible. Don't judge a book by its fucking cover. If you ever, like, I say I love Memphis all the time, and everyone's like, what? Memphis? What? If you're hanging out in the fucking hood, you're hanging out in the fucking hood. If you're in Orange Mound, like, you're asking for trouble. But Memphis is incredible, and I loved it, and I miss it, and I would move back there. I don't really have any friends there anymore, but, I mean, I have people who were my friends that live there. But Memphis is great. You should definitely go visit. Go eat some barbecue, baby. I miss some barbecue. Okay. Stuff came out yesterday, I suppose. Biden administration weighs nationwide ban on gas stoves. I hope the inner Maria inside of you, I hope the person that you like, when you think of me, I hope you think, fuck the Fed, states' rights, down with the establishment. The government has only the power that we bestow upon it. And it thinks It can insert itself into interstate commerce and ban the purchase and sale of a gas stove, both on like the state level. Like it thinks that it can preempt state law in that way, and then it thinks it can just fucking do it on a federal basis. I hate saying grinds my gears, you know that, but this type of shit fucking grinds my gears. The Biden administration is considering a nationwide ban on gas stoves, citing the harmful pollutants released by the appliances, according to a report. The Consumer Protection Safety Commission is mulling the action after recent studies showed emissions from the devices can cause health and respiratory problems. Quote, "This is a hidden hazard," Commissioner Richard Trumka Jr. told the outlet. "Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. You fucking agency little prick." Reports by groups including the American Chemical Society and New York University's Law School Institute for Policy Integrity found gas stoves, which are used in about 40% of US homes, while the remainder use various forms of electric cookers, emit pollutants like nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and fine matter at levels deemed unsafe by the Environmental Protection Agency and World Health Organization. Biden, why don't we talk about fucking chemtrails? Why don't we talk about what you spray in the world? Why don't we talk about genetically modified mosquitoes? Why don't we talk about how Zika was a fucking psyop? Why don't we talk about microplastics in the world? Why don't we fucking talk about synthetic mRNA? Like, I just fucking can't with this. I can't. And you know me, you know I'm an anti-federalist and I love the states' rights and I think that there should be a small federal government, and we bestow the power that any fucking government has, whether that's like your local, your state, your fed. The power lies with you. You give them the like semblance of power that it has. But unfortunately, fucking like, the aliens are in control and FDR created the New Deal and all of these fucking socialist packages that the world runs on now. The government is like the book, like if you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to take a fucking mile. And like it says shit like this just to get a reaction sometimes, just to see, I think, what it can push, just to see what it can get away with. This is ludicrous, especially because climate change isn't real. Cap and trade is stupid. Like the electric cooktops that they're talking about are often powered by natural gas. So like, you want me to get an electric stovetop that is powered by natural gas, but you won't let me have a gas stove? Scott Oliver, we didn't start the fire. Exactly. We didn't start the fire at this point, but I'm ready to watch the fucking world burn. The fucking world burn. I called myself, like, I like to refer to myself as an anarchist at times because I just, like, and I called myself a constitutional anarchist recently, and a bunch of fucking, like, dipshits were making fun of me for that. Anyone who's like bowing down to the current administration, bowing down to your government, acting like it's better than you or has control over you or should be able to tell you really to do anything, like, I'm an anarchist as it relates to the current regime, the way things are, the way the institutions are set up, like the unelected fourth branch of the government, the agency. I want to make it all burn. I do like the Constitution. I do think that that setup of the three branches, if it's done the way it's supposed to be and there's election integrity, and if you instituted congressional term limits, I think it would all work very fluidly. But I would love to watch the whole system burn. And I think it has to burn right down to the fucking ground if anything is ever going to change. And then we build it back better. But yeah, am I a constitutional anarchist? Yes. Is that somewhat of an oxymoron? Perhaps. Who fucking cares? You understand what I mean? Tell me how you really feel, Maria. Dun dun dun. If you tried to, like, I have worked 35 years to like maybe get a house soon, and you think in some fucking hypothetical you're gonna tell me I can't have my gas stove or my fucking hibachi grill that I'm going to install at one point? Eat my ass, Biden. Stick you in that goddamn oven. I'm so funny. I'm so funny. How do you guys feel about Brazil? At the very beginning, where I saw that the people had been protesting for 60 to 70 days, that they had begun to storm their Congress either over the weekend or it was on Monday, I can't recall now, within the last couple days. It seemed at first, maybe this is real, like maybe this is promising. They were protesting the election of a literal corrupt criminal. The people were saying that there was no way could have been elected. But now, don't get me wrong. I know that there are copycats. I know that men only have so many ways they might know how to style themselves, and looking like the Jan 6 shaman might be the thing to do. But somebody quickly found like the Brazilian version of that shaman, and they looked very similar. And so, like, my little heart at first was fluttering, thinking of, like, are these the people burning their government to the ground? Like, are they fed up with it? Have they protested for this long and they're going to take it back? Like, I wanted to fucking snap for them. But as time continues, I think that this is a psyop, like a not a good psyop. I need to pull something up specifically, but I saw today that thousands people had been arrested, perhaps. The regime in Brazil planning to deny conservative senators and representatives their seats. A 1,000-person concentration camp, like the inmates that have been taken there, thousands of them, are being forced to take an mRNA shot. I just dropped my phone. You didn't get to see it. It was supposed to be for effect. I don't believe any of this now. Like, this is the fakest shit I've ever seen. I don't like to get into like a UN, like that type of discussion where I think that the government or think the country's going to be taken over in that way. But this just seems like way too on the nose to be like, look, they're protesting. Look, he looks just like the one from January 6th. Look, we've taken 1,000 people and put them in the gulag and we're forcing them to get mRNA shots. Nah, dog, nah. That just doesn't seem real. Doesn't seem real at all. I would love if we have any like Brazilian members of the class to chime in, slide into my DMs, send me an email, mymaria777 at gmail.com. There's 4 sevens there, but I just don't know. It just doesn't quite smell right. Project Cheney in the house. Welcome. If I wasn't streaming through YouTube, I would invite you in here. But hello. Hello. FEMA camp. That's what I was looking for. And Royce Melbourne is fucking right. It sounds like FEMA camp fear porn. Fear fucking porn. Ladies, don't be scared of like a brown lip gloss. Like, I think this looks good. Look how dark that looks. It looks really brown. Maybe not from this angle, but to me it does. And it's not. Just a nice look. Nice little color. Cheney says the Brazilian president is staying in his house in Florida. There you go. There you go. All right. I think I've hit all of my highlights. Hashtag arrest Constantine. Cheney, you missed that first half of the podcast. I'll have to tell you about it later. I told the people about how Constantine was supposed to get arrested today. That motherfucker. The nice thing is I own the domain name of his name. And one day when I have some time, I'm going to build a website that just exposes him. Watch out, baby. That's the thing you got to know about me. Cheney knows this so well at this point. At any moment, at any time, you could send me a message or an audio message or something, and I won't give you any fucking warning, but I'll put it on my stories. I will blast when I think the content is good. So nothing is off limits. And there will soon be a ConstantineDiamond.com exposing the con artist. If anybody wants to build that website for me, let me fucking know. I'd probably pay you for it. Cheney is the best, Mike McNeil. I know you've been asking for her to come back. And I'll be out of town this weekend, so I can't film with her this weekend. But we are going to get together and do a little Monday night live. So Cheney will be back. We will have all the conversations on Monday. And I'm excited. She has to tell you about my psychopath, sociopath self at on New Year's Eve. I haven't really talked about it yet. I took some drugs and they didn't really hit. They hit a little bit, and I was more interested in talking to her than I was anything else, and I wanted her to know how funny I was. I can only imagine what that was like for her. I can't wait for her to tell you about it. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, I think that's all I have for you. We're about to hit 2 hours. It felt like nothing. Felt like jello. I don't know what that even means. It felt smooth. Felt like you slid right in. Okay, let's talk about that, I guess. I talked about my Ray issues in the beginning of the podcast and told them about happy early birthday. And I like to exploit my love life for likes and comments. But I have somebody that I'm gonna hang out with this weekend in an actual social setting. We've hung out elsewhere, if you know what I mean. So that will be interesting. Right? I don't know. It's weird. Like I was telling you earlier, to fall in love post enlightenment, when you've done all of this work on yourself, and to think that means something and it's gonna be different than before, it's been a hard pill to swallow, you know? Especially when I think I'm right and I'm like, why don't you want this? Just kidding. So it's hard for me to think about this other situation now, but I'm gonna try it. Oh yeah, Candace, it is the bad kisser. He is just, I don't understand. I'm literally gonna tell him, I've thought this through, to sit on the couch and let me kiss you. Maybe this is TMI. But I'm gonna be like, sit down, shut up, close your eyes, let me work it and show you how to actually kiss someone. Anyways, he's in the neighborhood. It's just fun to hang out sometimes, We'll just be at the same events. Anyways, I think that's all I have for you, unless you have something you want to ask. I'm going to be a ridiculous version of myself, though. I think whenever I find something fantastic, I have to get it, of course. And so 2018, I found this incredible black sequin blazer, completely done in sequins, in this men's shop in Charleston, South Carolina, and I bought it and I've never worn it. Never had the opportunity. So I think I'm going to be the most ridiculous version of myself and wear like a cat suit and a sequined black blazer. And this is why I might start Instagram subscriptions. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy. Okay. I think I hit it all. I think I hit it all. Been rewatching Homeland. I'm also watching this like really ridiculously like YA show on Netflix called Georgia and Ginny. And it's kind of silly, but I like it. I like it. I'm almost done with it anyways. Be on the lookout for an Instagram subscription if you want to get in. Some like private stories, more personal stuff, private IG lives, and private like content on IG. I think it's only going to be like 99 cents a month. So don't freak out. And if you don't want to do it, don't fucking do it. But there's that. Gonna have some hats coming out in the next couple weeks. I'm working actually with a member of the class. I went to this place like in Nashville about some hats on Monday, but there's also a member of the class who works in promotional products, and I'm gonna work with her. She gave me a better price, so that's exciting. You're supporting me and another member of the class if you're buy a new PSYOP hat. I'm literally just into black and green right now. Literally, look at my sock. I'm only wearing black and green's like my only exception. So black hat, green hat coming your way. Oh, you want to know what I'm fucking doing for Martin Luther King Day? This is like, you got to be deep. You got to be like way deep in Maria lore, Maria relationship lore. Watch the podcast, listen to the podcast for many years. If you remember old Morgan Stanley, old Mo, he like fucked with my heart for a little while, but we are way beyond that. Way beyond that. Morgan Stanley turned out to be like the squarest of squares. And last year, we just became like straight friends, friends only. And I helped him with some legal work. And he bought me tickets to the Eagles, like 4th row tickets. And this was like my last like Hail Mary with him. Like, if he doesn't kiss me at the Eagles concert, like there's literally nothing there. And he was so lame. So fucking lame at the Eagles concert. I literally saw my life flash before my eyes and I was just like, oh, you were so bent out of shape about this dumb man for a while. And you would never have fun with him in your entire lifetime, ever. He's just good looking. Get the fuck over it. He's just good looking. Anyways, Mo and I are now friends. And we're still working on the same stupid case. And I'm still helping him. And I should be charging him thousands of dollars. But we are going to mediation for his case on Monday. Your girl never gets any days off. So put some good juju out into the world that we get this done. Also, you guys, I think I should have led with this, I suppose. I think I've truly jumped a timeline in some way. And I know that's like the most ridiculous jump to make. Or not jump, because I just said jump. That's a ridiculous take probably for some. But if you know me, I have my 2 necklaces that I wear literally every day. And I don't like get tangled up so much that I got this really cool thing. And you take the clasps on one side and you connect it and it's a magnet. And you take the clasps on the other side and you connect it, it's a magnet. And then you can just like take it on and off. It's so easy. You don't have to like unclick them, to unhook them, to untangle them. Now, obviously a magnet is like more malleable, could come apart more than like the clasps, but it never came off at all. I like took it off a lot and like fixed it, but it never just fell off. And what's today? Thursday. So Tuesday night, I was here with you with HV. I had a black t-shirt on with short sleeves. I went back and looked at the fucking feed and my necklaces are there. And then I sat on the couch for a little while. Peyton and I fell asleep. We woke up. We walked outside. I didn't put him on a leash. I just like let him do his thing. So I like was on the sidewalk. I got into the grass a little bit, not much. And then I came back inside. I was wearing a sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I went to sleep in my sweatpants and my sweatshirt. I woke up. I went like this and my necklace was gone. And I can't find it anywhere. The cleaning lady came today. I told her to look for it. I had cleaned everything already. I've searched in every crook, every cranny, everywhere possible. I don't have a big apartment. I went outside for 45 minutes last night, walking back and forth with my headlamp on, and they're just gone. And it makes no sense. And so maybe I've jumped a timeline. I don't know. But I'm really sad because those are my favorite necklaces and like things I'd bought myself because I'd wanted them literally all my life. A butterfly and an evil eye for me and my nana. My nana. And they were not cheap at all. But we're going to find them. It's so funny because I just had been telling this to someone else. There was something else I couldn't find. And I was looking for it and I was looking for it. And I literally just was like in my apartment, in my room with P. And I was talking to the object and I was like, reveal yourself. And I think I said it like 2 or 3 times. I was like, reveal yourself. And then I found it. And I've literally been talking to my necklaces like, reveal yourself. And I don't know where they went. It makes absolutely no sense. So maybe we're on a different timeline, y'all. That's my only explanation. Maybe it's out there in the grass, but like I had a sweatshirt and a jacket on. And I was just standing there like this. I wasn't like hands in the air. I wasn't like leading P. I don't know. Dylan Kimbrough said, my daughter's basketball shorts were missing earlier today. I know we had it on Sunday. Yeah, look, we fucking jumped timelines. Hi, boo-boo. Hey, PP. Okay. Any last minute thoughts for the class? Baby, tell me what you got. Scott Oliver asked if episodes were missing on the podcast. No, sadly, I have just been lazy. And so like when I do these lives, there are often times in which I'm like looking at something on my phone. So there's this like downtime. I don't know about you. When I listen to a podcast, even if it's like down for a fucking second, I'm like, oh, is someone calling me? Like in the absence of sound. So I have some like intense editing to do, but I'm going to work on that tomorrow and this weekend. And I'm going to hope to like get all this podcast audio only up. I apologize if you're listening to this now in the future. I'm the worst. I just like being on the video with you now too. And I'm trying to promote this and trying to get a little bigger here and trying to get you to love me because I'm, making a tiny little bit of money on here now. And all the more of that would be great. So I don't have to fucking have a day job anymore because I'm about to go crazy. Absolutely crazy. Is it in the shower drain? No. Because it was just from podcast chair to couch, outside to bed. Doesn't make sense. I'm probably going to go out and replace these necklaces and then I'll find it. Unless there's just like some lovely man that like wants to take me on a date and replace my butterfly necklace for me. No. Jason D. Miller says OnlyFans page would definitely help you quit your day job. Jason, don't encourage me. Don't do it. What if I want to be president one day? What will they say about the OnlyFans? Actually, I was talking to James from We the People Radio about this last night. I was like, do you think there's a market for I was like, I'm not gonna do anything crazy. Like, we were just talking about how much money people make on OnlyFans. I was like, could I put some lingerie on and read about conspiracy theories? I'm not putting this into the timeline. This is not real. This is not happening. But yes, I would be able to quit my day job if I did that. Only friends. Yes. Yes. That's it. That would be the better thing. OnlyFans isn't actually an interesting platform, but it just has the connotation of being like sex work only, at least for me and most people I know. I even if I like even if censorship were to get worse and worse and worse, I think OnlyFans would actually be an interesting platform for people like us because you could charge something like $1 a month or something like that just to have access, and then there would be like absolutely no censorship whatsoever. And you could kind of say whatever the fuck you wanted, but again, people take OF to be synonymous with sex stuff only. So I don't know that would work, but I do think it would be an interesting concept for this type of community if it ever got to that point. But then I guess like that's what Patreon is for too. So you know. Can I bring back the Thigh Chronicles? Yeah, I could. You don't want to see my face anymore? Okay. Okay, Sergio. Okay. All right. I think that's all I have for you. If you've reached this part of the podcast, you are what I consider an elite member of the class. And I ask my elite members to let me know that you listen to this by showing me some solidarity and putting out like an emoji somewhere in the public sphere. And so we do a different emoji for every episode. And I just think it's cool. Somebody told me it was cringe the other day, and I was like, if you think something's cringe, then like just don't fucking do it, you big dip. But today's emojis are gonna be the axe and the peach, since I put out an axe post with my ass in it today. Give me a little axe, give me a little peach, baby. Show me that love. Show me that love. Thank you for the compliment. Truth defeats illusion. I appreciate you. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that as well. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. It's 11/11 here in Nashville on January 12th, 2023. I hope you enjoyed our time together. Listen, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much in the chat. If you're watching this later in time, maybe throw me a little comment on YouTube. That would help me in the great algorithm of things to stay up and at 'em on your YouTube page. If you listen to this audio only, don't hate me that these come out later in time. I love you and I'm going to get better at it. But if you could leave me a review on whatever platform you're listening to, that helps me as well. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at mymaria777. You can find me on Facebook and TikTok at mymaria7777 because some fucking bitches have my screen name out there. My link in bio on Twitter and Instagram has my link tree in it now and has lots of links to different things. If you want to watch the podcast streaming on your desktop, if you want to access it on all of the different applications, audio only, if you want to look at my Amazon store, if you want to read the Parasite Pill, I'm going to add some more links to that of just like things you should watch and do and see. Give me all of your loosh, all of your likes. Thank you so much for getting me back to 53K. Took 2 years and 3 months, but we fucking hit it, baby. Don't forget that I am running a contest giveaway until MLK Day at noon. You could win an OG PSYOP hat and some fucking cool ass stickers. So check it out. I love you the most. Thanks for hanging out with me. Here's my Sprite. If you're on Sober January with me, good luck. You can do it. Salute. Love you. Oh, that's my last thing. Royce Melbourne. Okay, my last little random thing I have to, if you're still listening, he just put the potato emoji in here and said, with this potato, I wish for great luck for you. And it's so funny. I found, again, fucking scrolling through my phone, trying to find dumbass stuff to post on my stories. And I found this. Okay. It's just a picture of like a fucking digital potato. And it says, this is the potato of luck. Don't ignore it. And tomorrow you'll get good news. So I posted this the other day, maybe Sunday or Monday, maybe Monday or Tuesday, Sunday or Monday. Yeah. And last night, this is why I feel like I am going to find my necklace. Last night, I'm out in the fucking grass. I've got my headlamp on. I'm literally just like walking back and forth trying to find my necklaces. And what do I find? This. I gotta hold down on it. Shit. Okay. You know when you buy a bag of potatoes and it has that little wrapper, what am I saying? Wrapper tag? I found a tag just down the hill at my apartment that says Idaho potatoes. Idaho potato. Like, what? I posted a potato of good luck and then I find a tag for Kroger Idaho potatoes. That's some funny shit. I find all these little trinkets around my apartment complex. Oh, damn. This is I forgot to bring this back full circle. I forgot to end this conversation with you. Okay. Hold on. I find all these little trinkets around my apartment complex. I don't know if you know this about me, but I started finding puzzle pieces out in the wild, and I probably have maybe 5 or 6 puzzle pieces that I found just like in the world in the last 2 years, and it's literally like my favorite thing that fucking happens. And like one day I'm going to like put them all together. I also have found maybe like 3 or 4 Lego pieces, and that fucking excites me. My whole life I wanted to collect stuff. I like wanted it to do it so bad that I like didn't have anything to collect. And now I have these little trinkets. My dad texted me after he watched that story. He's like, "You understand that you have like 4 storage units full of shit now?" He's like, "You do collect shit, not just your little trinkets." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." But I am either convinced that fae exist, like fairies exist, a la True Blood, in that type of reference. And Cheney and I talk about this often. And I really need to like deep dive into some fae stuff and talk about that. Or I think I'm messing with myself from the future in some way that like I'm leaving these trinkets for myself. I don't know. The synchronicity is just like off the charts. Now, to add one more layer to that, I was telling you how I lived in Knoxville all my life. I came to Nashville for 4th and 5th grade, lived with my parents in an apartment, and then moved back to Knoxville when my parents got divorced. So I basically lived in like almost every major city in Tennessee. Out of law school, I got married and we were living in Clarksville because he was in the Army and that wasn't going well. And I was planning my escape. And I'm not the best planner. In a astrology reference, the Sagittarius in me can be a little crazy at times, a little like, I don't know. So I decided I like wanted to leave and then I didn't do anything about it for a while. And then it was just like, okay, it's time. I'm going to leave. And I found, I was looking for a roommate. I found a roommate on Craigslist. And it was like in the area where my office is, which is near the area, like the same suburb of Nashville that I lived in back in the day, which just happened to be ironic. And when I came and met the girl that I ended up moving in with, she lived in the same apartment complex that I lived in 4th and 5th grade. And then on top of that, she like gave me the address and I was like, how, like, this is so familiar to me. And I drive in and then I'm looking for the building that she lives in. And I go all the way back to the back of the complex that we used to do. And it's the exact same building that I lived in 5th grade. Not the same apartment, but the same building. And that was weird. And now I still fucking live here. So this has got to be some like weird sacred hallowed ground for old Maria. But it's time to leave here, but I just don't know where I want to go next. Kind of wish I could sell that other piece of property that I was telling you about in the beginning of this, because then I could take like a year off and do all sorts of weird things. You know, it's time to just like fuck some shit up in my life. That's where we're headed. Okay. I love you. I needed to tell you that last part. Thank you for the 62 of you that are still here. Miss you. Talk to you soon. And have a great weekend.